Hi, it's Lynn again today, and I'm here to give you another tips and tricks video. Today is about system of equations and how do you tell which method you should use? Should you use substitution or should you use the elimination or addition method? So what I would like to do is take a single example and do it both ways and show you little tricks on how you might decide which one is to use. So I will start first with substitution. Now this set of a system of equations is a good one to use for substitution because there are two places where there's a variable that doesn't have a coefficient besides 1. So what happens, we can either solve for y or we could solve for the negative x. And when we solve for it, so for instance, if we had decided to solve for this x, our last step would have been to divide by 2, and we would have got fractions. And we know that we want to avoid fractions if we can. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to solve for y. Now I chose the y over the x because the x has a negative sign. Negative signs are an invitation for mistakes and other things that we need to think about. So again, we want to simplify everything as much as we can. So here, if I'm going to solve for y, I have negative 2x plus y equals 2. Now I'm going to isolate y by adding 2x to both sides. Now notice these are not like terms. Those go away, so I'm going to get y equals 2x plus 2. I just in general like to write the x one first because it resembles y equals mx plus b, and it makes graphing easier. Now I'm going to substitute for this y into the other equation for this y. And one of my hints is to put parentheses around what you're going to substitute. It just reminds you that you need to group this in the same place that there would be a y. So my substitution then would be negative x plus 3 times the parentheses. Instead of writing y, I'm going to write 2x plus 2, and then that equals negative 4. So with the substitution, we have now eliminated the y variable. Here we had two variables, we can't get an actual answer. Here we just have an x variable, which means we can solve for it. So let's go ahead and finish this. We want to simplify this. We get minus x plus 6x plus 6 equals negative 4. Combine the like terms. So this would be 5x, and then we're going to subtract the 6 from both sides, equals negative 10. The last step is to divide by 5, so we get x equals negative 2. That's just our x coordinate of the point where these two lines cross. So what we do is we can substitute the x back into either one of these, because these cross in the same point, negative 2 comma something. The easiest thing is to go back to where we've already solved for y. So you can just say then y equals 2, and then again I use parentheses to substitute, times negative 2 plus 2. This comes from here. And so y equals negative 4 plus 2, which equals negative 2. So my answer is negative 2 comma negative 2, because that's the x and the negative 2 is the y. So that's the substitution method. Again, this was an option for substitution because there were two options where you could solve for the variable and not have to divide by anything and make it a fraction. So let's do the same thing again. If I can find my eraser. I'm back. We're going to use this, do the same problem using elimination. So what I'd like to do is line them up. So I have negative 2x plus y equals 2, and negative x plus 3y equals negative 4. Now the object of this one is to get either the x to add to 0 or the y to add to 0. So I'm going to keep the numbers small, and I'm going to multiply this one times a -2, because that will turn this positive. So what I like to do, instead of doing parentheses -2, I like to multiply each term by -2. That's my tip for here. So what I tend to do is I tend to forget to multiply this side also by -2. So this, and then I also rewrite the whole thing. So I'm going to rewrite this, -2x plus y equals 2. And then this will be plus 2x. This will be minus 6y. And this will equal positive 8. And so what happens is now we add these together, and these turn out to be 0x, which is, we don't even need to look at this, and then this is -5y equals 10. Our last step is to divide by -5 on both sides, so y equals -2. Aha! It's the same answer that we got the other way. And then again, we have to finish the problem by putting it in to either one of these to find out what the x value is. So I'll just put it in the first one. So we have -2x plus a -2 equals 2. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So I get 4, and this is just a -2x. The last step is to divide by -2, and so I get x equals -2 also. So the hint for the elimination method is when you decide what you need to multiply by to make sure that one of the variables drops out, is to write it next to every single term so you don't forget one. Then you can decide which method you like. I tend to like the elimination method. It's just more universal. You don't run into the having to substitute with fractions. But go ahead and experiment with both of these methods and see what happens. Make your own choice. Have a great day.